First of all, thank you very much, everyone, for being here today. Really excited today as we launch the new program called ReDirect. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's been involved in the implementation and design of ReDirect. First, I would want to acknowledge the members of our community who have provided insight, thoughts, and ideas on how we can address the growing problem of radicalization to violence. We realize this is a community issue, not just a policing issue, and together we have an obligation to make a difference. To our partners, first, of course, the Public Safety Canada, who have been steadfast partners in our commitment to countering violent extremism and provided guidance to ensure our local strategy aligns with the federal strategy. To our partners in the RCMP, two of whom are here today, Superintendent Yvonne DeChamplain and Inspector John Biriani, thank you very much. They continue to work closely with us in countering extremism in our country, along with being ambassadors of ReDirect. The City of Calgary, Katie Black's here today from Community and Neighbourhood Services, our Calgary Police Service Community and Youth Services section, as well as Criminal Intelligence section, for the countless hours that they have dedicated to developing and implementing this program, a program that we know will make a difference in our community. Lastly, I'd like to thank and recognize Dr. Sejin Gohel, the International Security Director for the Asia Pacific Foundation and a worldwide expert in radicalization. Dr. Gohel has been an invaluable resource for the CPS. Doc, thanks very much for your support. Criminal radicalization is a global issue, and no single agency can address this alone. Partnerships like the ones that we'll discuss today are critical. So again, I'd like to thank everyone who has provided input in developing this strategy, because I know that together we can direct our youth to live a prosperous and happy life. I'd now like to turn the podium over to Inspector Mike Bosley from our Community and Youth Services section to speak more about the details around ReDirect. Inspector Bosley.
Deputy. Good morning, and thank you for coming today again. The Calgary Police Service, in partnership with Public Safety Canada, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and the City of Calgary Community and Neighbourhood Services, is proud today to announce the launch of our ReDirect program. ReDirect is an education, awareness, and prevention plan to address radicalization to violence in Calgary youth. We developed it based upon best policing practices, extensive research, and consultations with enforcement agencies, international experts, and community groups as well. Some of you have heard a little bit about ReDirect in the past months, but today I'm here to give you additional information on how we are going to be moving forward with the program. The strategy has two aims: preventing young adults from turning to extremism and helping police officers better recognize the signs of radicalization and extremism in our city. At the Calgary Police Service, we already have a strong focus on identifying young people who are heading down a destructive path and intervening in an attempt to change their fate. We do this every day through our crime prevention and reduction continuum, which is a strategy where we educate youth, support youth who need help dealing with tough family or school life issues, and try to address factors that have put the youth on the wrong path in the first place. While extreme views and terrorism are certainly not new, the face of them is also changing as well. The ReDirect strategy we are unveiling today will help ensure our organization, our partners, and our community continue evolving so our effort to protect our youth keep up with the dangers that they are facing as well. In many ways, ReDirect is simply building on the work we are already doing through our Community and Youth Services section. It is a plan to help us identify young people who are vulnerable to radicalization and extremism, and to work to change their path before it leads to violence. Radicalization is a community issue, as the Deputy has indicated, not just a police issue. Schools, parents, relatives, community leaders, all of us have to work together to identify those who are trying to manipulate kids and are creating the belief that they are going into something romantic and idealistic when they join terrorist groups at home or abroad. ReDirect focuses on community involvement in identifying these at-risk individuals. A simple call or email from people in the community concerned about a friend or a family member can be the difference between getting that person back on track or losing them to violence. So one of the questions is, how do you contact us in relation to ReDirect? We've established a dedicated phone line and an email address for the public to reach out and connect with ReDirect members. The number is 403-428-8200, and the email is redirect@calgarypolice.ca. The ReDirect coordinator is Sergeant Paul Dunn, will assess each of the referrals and begin taking the necessary steps to address the issue at hand. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the ReDirect team members who are here today. They're just seated over here to my left. They will be the people who work directly with the individuals who need to ensure any and all services that are provided. Each person who enters ReDirect will have a personalized program that supports their needs as well as those of their family. The ReDirect team has worked tirelessly for the last several months to ensure this program's success. This is truly a full-service approach to this issue. No one wins when young Calgarians fall prey to radical, violent views. It hurts families, it hurts communities, and it hurts our city as well. Together, and only together, can we stop these tragedies from happening. I'd like to invite Katie Black, the Director of the City of Calgary's Community and Neighbourhood Services, to say a few words as well. Katie.
Well, good morning, everybody. Community and Neighbourhood Services is certainly extremely proud to be part of this critical work to help prevent the radicalization of youth and young adults toward violent extremism. We know that supporting people to become strong, healthy, and resilient not only helps those individuals, but fosters stronger communities and a safer and more vibrant city. Community and Neighbourhood Services has a long-standing commitment to prevention programs for at-risk youth and vulnerable populations in Calgary. We've been honored to work closely in a successful partnership with the Calgary Police Service on other programs to help youth with at-risk behaviors. Programs such as Gateway, MAST, and YARD identify young people in need of support and get them the help they need before they fall into more destructive patterns, as we've already heard about this morning. As part of ReDirect, a Community and Neighbourhood Services youth justice registered social worker will actively partner with a Calgary Police Service constable to work directly with the ReDirect youth. This support includes individualized case planning and meeting one-on-one with community, providing information, referrals, and coaching. Community and Neighbourhood Services is committed to using best practices in social work and in reducing radicalization. Last fall, in partnership with the Calgary Police Service, we released the results of our YARD program evaluation. As those results demonstrated, with our combined intervention, we can see reduced criminal involvement and improved family functioning, emotional well-being, and constructive use of free time for these young people. Community and Neighbourhood Services is committed to working with vulnerable youth and with excellent partners like those throughout the community and certainly the Calgary Police Service to ensure that these young people's highest potential is achieved and ultimately ensure a safer community for all Calgarians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katie. We're open to answering some questions now, and I'll do the best I can, but obviously we have some people here that are supporting us today that have expertise in this field as well. So if you have any questions I can answer.
I know that the program is just getting off the ground, but you said that you've been working towards this, you've been working on this issue for some time. Do you have any idea on the numbers of potentially vulnerable young people that this could be targeting?
And unfortunately, I don't have a number of people that would be utilizing the program. That's really, realistically, what we're looking for is that relationship of trust with the community. The reality is, for the police service, we won't get people phoning if we don't have the trust of the community and the people in the program. So that's what we've been working on for a number of years now, is programming in our community and youth services section, where we've built those relationships with the community, built that trust. And it's not when we have incidents like this that we have that relationship. That relationship is long-standing and existing. And because of that trust that we have with the community, we've engaged with them. And just on September 8th, we took this program to the community and we asked for their input. We got the community's feedback from them, very positive feedback that's been incorporated in the development of the plan as well, which is extremely important. We can't do this by ourselves. It's very important to have the community involvement and their input in what are the best solutions for us here in Calgary as well. So the program's looked at international best practice, but it's also considering the Calgary dynamic that we have here by engaging with Calgary community, faith leaders, everybody that's involved in this type of information.
I know that the Prime Minister has said that this influx of Mideast refugees poses a potential security risk. Do you think that that coming influx could add a new wrinkle, add a wrinkle into what you guys are trying to do?
No, I think realistically, from our perspective, it's about the relationships that we have with the community itself, and whether we have a larger number or a smaller number of individuals that are coming in through immigration or through just the work itself. I mean, what ReDirect is designed to deal with is not just immigration or issues of that nature. It's really designed to deal with all forms of extremism. So whether it's homegrown issues that are going on, right-wing extremism, or it deals with other forms of extremism. So that specifically isn't going to change the way that we work with those families. And I think the deputy has something to add.
Just to add, and thanks, Mike. One of the things that we're looking at is vulnerabilities, and because we know, and this is why when Mike said earlier, Inspector Bosna said earlier, this forms part of the continuum of services we provide in our community and youth services section. We know that those same vulnerabilities that lead to children or youth that are being exploited and dragged into the drug trade, for instance, or into organized crime, are those same vulnerabilities that can lead them into this radicalization of violence. So we're looking at all of those, addressing all of those vulnerabilities, but this really is only a part of the continuum of services that we're working with our youth.
Is there a series of markers, traits, characteristics that parents, family members, community members can look for to identify those that might be vulnerable to them?
There are some traits and so forth, as the deputy indicated, that are common in anybody who's following a negative path in their lives. The difficulty is it's very difficult to put them in a box and say that any one of those factors are going to necessarily cause somebody to become radical to violence. So, one of the perspectives that the program has is that radicalization isn't necessarily a bad thing. Radicalization, people who have radical views, different views in society, actually get us thinking about things. Where the issue lies is when that radicalization turns into violence. When it becomes violent and so forth, and there's hatred involved, that's when it becomes a problem. It becomes criminal, or it becomes, there are victims as a result of those beliefs, and that's where the problems end up coming.
Can you describe maybe a hypothetical scenario that might prompt someone to contact ReDirect about someone else?
You might see some behavior in somebody. It can be a friend. It could be a parent speaking about one of their children, a change in behavior, something that you recognize is not their normal behavior. Maybe all of a sudden all of their friends have changed, and maybe they're posting things on the internet that you find are somewhat inappropriate, or a real change in belief and behavior that isn't consistent with their usual behavior that they have. So those kind of indicators might be something that would make you want to make a phone call and make an inquiry. But it is very difficult to put them in a box and say that this is the indicators that are consistent with somebody who is becoming radicalized to violence. Many people have radical views, are radical, but they don't necessarily commit violence in relation to that.
So what happens when you get a call and you assess the call and say, yes, we should look at this instance? So what happens with ReDirect when you say, hey, this is a person we need to talk to or whatever? How does ReDirect work?
So yeah, the way it works is we'll get a referral, and there'll be a referral form online that's available at the email address or at the website on Calgary Police. Essentially, what happens is the referral will come in, and then once we have a referral from any of those specific areas that we'd indicated, come from a parent, could come from a religious leader, it could come from a member of the community, a friend, anybody. It will then be looked at by our ReDirect coordinator. The ReDirect coordinator, what we've established is a multi-agency panel. So there's a number of agencies that are involved with us, supporting us, that will look at that individual and determine, or at that referral form, and determine whether or not that person is applicable to fit into the ReDirect program. And it's really important to emphasize the importance of community in this. We don't have all the answers to a lot of these issues at times as well. We work with our community around those. So we might get a referral that is really not applicable to ReDirect, but really there is somebody that needs a little bit of guidance and support. And so through our community contacts and collaboration that we have with other partners, we can put that person over into something else. So maybe they're spending, too much time on the internet, having issues and so forth something of this nature. And really, what they need is they need to get involved in more pro-social type of activities like sports.
How is that first contact made? Is the policeman doesn't come in the door and starts knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you"? How does that initial contact?
The initial contact is made through the ReDirect coordinator with the referral form that comes in. So if we have a referral form, we can get information from other police agencies, we get information from the public. However that information comes in and there's that referral that has now been completed, then that ReDirect coordinator will reach out to that family or person and speak with them.
What about the individual? So once they've been given a referral, how do you guys have a legal obligation to, if you decide that they're perfect for the program, to bring them in, or can they completely deny that they don't want to do it?
Absolutely, it's a voluntary type program that's set up that way so that they want to take part in the program that we've got designed.
So what happens if they decide not to do it, but you have decided that they are good for the program?
If they are good for the program, then obviously there's additional discussion that can happen with family members and so forth, whether it's faith leaders or somebody around that individual that can hopefully help us, because like we said, this isn't the Calgary Police Service alone, it's our collaboration of partners and the community itself. And everybody that's part of our community usually has either friends or a faith leader or somebody that they confide in. And we're looking for hopefully that information to come from those people that they trust as well, that we can work together to try and get them on the right path so that they don't become radicalized to violence.
Have you guys identified certain communities, schools, areas of the city to focus on at all?
No, there's no specific area that's been identified.
Is there a template in another center that you guys are copying or trying to emulate, or is this a first, as far as you know?
No, there's definitely a lot of research that's gone into the program, and we've looked at what the best practices are, and those relationships and partnerships that we have, like with Public Safety Canada, the RCMP, other agencies, we've looked at, and the community itself, what are the best ways to do this? And so the form was really developed as a result of all of that expertise that came forward so that we could make something that was most effective.
As of June, it's become a criminal offense to promote terrorist groups. How are you going to navigate when it's best to intervene and when it's best to arrest someone if they're simply posting support but they haven't acted on that?
Okay, so if the information that we're dealing with relates to terrorism or requires some sort of enforcement type action, is that sort of your question in relation to that?
I'm looking more at the scope of the pre-criminal space has changed as of June under Bill
Right.
251. So now it
Yeah.
includes posting support online, trying to recruit people into a group.
Yeah.
How do you sort of navigate that now that that's changed? When is it best to intervene through redirect, and when is it best to throw the book at someone?
And sorry, when to look at?
When to throw the book at someone?
Oh, when to throw the book at someone? Yeah, so the redirect program, just to make it really clear around the focus, is to try to redirect them. This is not related to the enforcement aspect of our work. You know, one thing that's really important is we do enforcement. We have to do enforcement. There are certain people that do require enforcement related to their activities, whether we're dealing with gang members or we're dealing with anybody else. So that enforcement piece will always be there, but what we're trying to do with redirect is to guide them away from that enforcement in the first place, so that we don't have that, we don't have to take those type of steps. One of the biggest concerns for police agencies is when we have somebody that potentially even has committed a criminal offense, or they are of concern to us. What do we do with them? How do we manage that potential threat to the safety of Canadians? Obviously, and I think we've heard this before, you know, there are limited resources to be able to conduct surveillance or enforcement or any of those things that we have. It's an important part of our work, and we do that. But how do we redirect people so that we don't have that in the first place, and hopefully prevent them from becoming an individual that will require enforcement type activity? That's really the goal of redirect, and also the work that we're doing in the Calgary Police Service with our Community and Youth Services section.
Is there an age range that you're looking at?
No, there's no specific age range. Anybody who is involved in radicalization to violence would be applicable to the program.
So sorry, you say youth and young adults, but they can fall inside of those brackets?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. But what we know about being successful is the earliest possible intervention that we can have with individuals. It increases our potential for success. So some of our other programs that we have, like we start with police officers in our Start Smart Stay Safe program with kids in elementary school, right? Building trust with police and talking about strengths-based type of learning with them. So really this is an opportunity to the earliest possible intervention point when we see that, you know, an individual is sort of leaning towards you know, radicalization to violence. That's where we would really like to be involved with them and utilize our community partnerships and collaborations.
And although this is the launch, have you guys, you know, tested this, done field tests with individuals in the city? And if so, can you talk a little bit about that?
I can only say that there are people in the program at this point.
How many?
I can't give you the numbers.
Approximately.
Yeah.
Approximately?
So, I'm not prepared to give you the numbers in relation to the program. So.
What, you're asking the community to look at vulnerable people and reach out. What sort of eye is there on sort of the predator side of things? Someone who might be radicalizing youth, or I'm not sure who the predators are among us.
Right. Yeah. So what is the?
So are you encouraging the community to, like, people to look for those individuals as well, or is that a whole separate? Can you tell me a little bit about how we can narrow in on who it is that's influencing the youth?
Right, yeah. So I think it sort of leads back to the original discussion we've had about identifying you know, those changes in behavior. Well, what is it that's caused that changes behavior in that individual? Do they have new friends? Is there somebody new that has changed that behavior, that as a parent or as a community leader, you've noticed that there's been this change as a result of new friends or new acquaintances and so forth. So those kind of things are something that we'd definitely be looking at.
One of the common denominators in a lot of these extremist types who actually act out is they say that they're motivated by Western foreign policy intervention in the Middle East. I mean, how big a factor is that in a lot of these people?
That's you know, I think there's, if you're specifically looking at that type of radicalization, that is certainly a factor, right, as far as you know, a motivation or a belief. But I think it's really important to state that with this program, we're looking much beyond that. We're looking at, you know, right-wing type of extremism. We're looking at all forms of extremism as well.
You said that the goal is to prevent enforcement from getting to that point.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the trend that you've seen in radicalized youth towards violence and enforcement? Is it increasing? Is it something that you're trying to stop before it gets any worse?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm not certain that I have any numbers to support, you know, your question as far as whether or not we're seeing, you know, an increase and so forth with respect to numbers. But we do know it's becoming an extremely important issue for our community. We've heard from the community. One of the things about ReDirect was, you know, obviously we've heard about, you know, some of the incidents that have happened in Canada that are concerning to us. We've also heard from our community that they want to be a part of that solution, want to be part of that work that we're going to be doing. So there is a concern from community and from the public around this issue, and that's part of why we are working with them. So it's not something we've initiated totally on our own. It's our collaboration and our partnership with communities and other organizations that have caused us to develop the program.
Last question, guys, and then we can do some one-on-ones or whatever you need. Anybody else?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.